I'd like to call the Benicia Unified School District Board meeting for August
15th.
15th. Thank you. To session. Wow, we are back already. It seems like, did we leave? I'm not sure. Okay, if everybody would please join me and stand, let's have Miss.
Where to go this week?
It's kind of like where in the world is Waldo? It's like, okay, here we go. All right, so I'd like to start with a call for an approval of the agenda. So what that will require is a motion and a second. I'm going to go through the agenda like I did with Sherry and Mark. Remember your very first board meeting? I shared with Yosemite that we'll talk her through it as well. So okay? So I need an approval of our agenda and I need a motion, please.
I move that we approve the agenda as stated.
A second.
Second.
No, that was great. We got two. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as written. All right, so we are going to start today with our superintendent.
No, we need to vote on the student matter.
Oh, that's right. We have a closed session item. That's right. Miss Jensen, we have a student matter that we need to vote on. Thank you. It's student matter 19-002.
In the matter of student number 19-002, a full readmit, does the board make a recommendation to approve the recommendation of the committee? Do I have a motion?
At this point, we need a motion, and then it will be an individual vote. Okay.
Make a motion to approve the readmit for student 19-002.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay. This time we'll do roll call.
President Ferrucci?
Yes.
Trustee Holguin?
Yes.
Trustee Maselli?
Yes.
Trustee Zeta?
Yes.
Trustee Moss?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll turn to our superintendent for highlights of our summer projects and maintenance and operations.
Very good. Welcome back, trustees. Yosemite Moss, we welcome you, and I'm glad you're joining us. Your first, you had your first closed session and your first board meeting, so we're very happy that you're here. So, thanks everybody who was able to join us. Small turnout this evening, but we'd like to welcome Alfredo Romero, our director of maintenance and operations, to the podium to give us an update. This is a yearly effort that we do to sort of tee it up, because during the summer, Alfredo, Mr. Romero and his team do a wonderful job working overtime to get the schools looking shipshape to get going. So we always think it's nice for you as trustees to see what they've done and how great our schools look. So welcome, Mr. Romero.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. Again, Alfredo Romero. It's a pleasure to be here. And I have a few pictures and a small presentation to get started on. Before I go there, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. When I'm out there with the guys, I'm in the hole with them, I'm doing the work, right alongside of them. And every now and then, one of the younger guys will make a comment when I pull out my screwdriver, my pair of pliers, like, "Oh, those are nice and clean, boss." I'm like, okay, yeah, they are. I take that moment to let them know they're nice and clean, because I know where these tools come from. You know, they come from generations of tradesmen and women who have handed them down, from plumbers, steam fitters, carpenters, and I honor my tools. You know, these tools aren't even mine. They were entrusted to me by the school district, and my plan to keep them as clean and in great shape as possible. And shortly after that, I see they get a little sheepish and they look at their tools. Then soon I see them cleaning their tools and straightening their trucks out. And that's a good thing. Quick little sidebar for myself. My wife does all the laundry. I promise not to turn any of the whites pink anymore. And part of that arrangement, she gets to keep all the money she finds in the pockets. And she does a really good job there. But She never checks the utility pockets where my screwdrivers and where my pliers go into. So they quite regularly go through the wash. And so that's a little bit about me. And so let's take a look and see how our team honored their tools this summer. This is the parking lot at Joe Henderson. We had contracted out for the parking lot to get a micro seal and then a real a coating over on top of that. And prior to that, excuse me, we had, evaluated the parking lot, and it had gone a little bit worse from the time we had contracted out, and brought the contractor back out to look at these areas. And his recommendation and everybody's thoughts were that these areas needed to get dug out and repaved before the seal coat. And after getting a couple of bids, they were pretty high. And so talking to the team, we're like, hey, let's save that money and do it ourselves. So we scheduled it. And that's our team out there doing the dig outs with the backhoe. We got the jackhammer out there, and then we repaved everything, and got it prepped for the next slide. There you go. So after that, the contractor brought out these huge trucks, and they did what they call a micro seal over that, and then they did a playground seal on top of that, and then we did the final painting and striping of the playground, the front parking lot, and the drive-through there at the school. And there on the second picture, there is a sneak peek of the painting that was done over there at Joe Henderson, and more on that in the next slide. And so here's a picture of the couple of crew members. We got Edwin Martinez there doing the trim work, and that's John Da Silva up there doing the spraying. And I just got to say, John kind of spearheaded the boots on the ground effort out there at Henderson. We're lucky we were visited by the donut fairies, and it was awesome. They came out. The guys had donuts, and it was perfect timing because in that picture right there on the right, that's the last of our painting that we had to do. So it was just a perfect time to come out. There's some tree limbs behind that you see. We had just finished doing some tree trimming because as we started doing this, we're like, wow, this looks great up close. But as you get out to the street, it's covered by these trees. You couldn't really see our work. So we thinned out the trees a little bit. We took advantage of the lift that we had rented in order to paint the roof there. And then we kind of just pruned some of the trees over there and opened it all up. Once we did that, and then we saw that, wow, the landscape needed a little work too. So the next slide. Yeah, just like home improvement, that's not a donut fairy, but it is the donut god who came in and brought us some donuts there also as well. And we were putting in a nice little table and chairs out in front. And then we did some planting up front, and it came out really well. It just, with the new paint, the new driveway, and we got some new plants in the ground. And to not forget the back, we installed a playground for the CDU. We just got to do a little bit more bark back there to finish it off. Next slide, please. And there she is looking completed from the front of the school. And again, our team members, John Da Silva, Lisa Author, Kevin Moniz, Edwin Martinez, Ronnie Estrada, and Ron Sapp were all major contributors throughout the summer. These guys did not take vacation until this project was done. They wanted to see it done, and they worked together so well. It makes it so easy for me. I'm just following behind them, cleaning up behind them when I can. And after that project was a very short celebration for us. Hooray, we're done. Now let's focus on the other stuff we knew was going on. We knew we had a major leak out at Joe Henderson in the field, and during the painting project, we turned off the main irrigation water line, focused on the paint, and once we got our bearings back together, we started searching for these leaks. We turned the water on knowing of one leak and found another. And so we repaired that leak first, jumped back and repaired the original leak. Then our repair didn't take, so we repaired it again, turned the water back on, and found 2 more leaks in the front of the school. And so it was just, we were kind of burnt out, digging holes, sometimes looking, searching, spending the day. But we got really good at it. That's the good news. So when we found leaks at the high school, we were able to everybody knew their role. We just jumped right in and we did 2 more repairs at the high school. So I think altogether, we're looking at 7 mainline repairs that we did over the summer that we had not planned for. I had got an over-the-phone estimate from one of our landscape contractors, and he said to take a backhoe out and to do some digging and whatnot would be anywhere between $7,000 and $10,000. You know, so from what we found out there, I'm kind of leaning towards the high end of that because it wasn't as easy as just digging a hole. There were a lot of wires and a lot of other cross pipes that we had to, do a lot of hand digging in. So I'm figuring we save maybe about $70,000 doing these ourselves this year. Yep. And some of the painters, not everybody was in the hole digging with us. We couldn't fit everyone. So some of the painters continued the painting, and at the request and foresight of Tim Rahill, we went to the high school and painted a couple of portables that had been moved near the tennis courts, and that's on the left-hand side. And then we had some utility sheds that were kind of eyesores, and we painted those too, and they kind of just blend in with the school now, and it looks really good. So the first thing Brianna did when she got back is she called me and she's just like, "Thank you. Those things had been bothering me and I didn't even know it. Now that they're painted, it's just awesome." So it was good to hear from her. A little bit more work that we did at the high school. These are on the left-hand side is the before picture. The floors in the science labs get battered just from the amount of chemicals that get accidentally dropped on them or purposely thrown on them. And so they had been failing for a while, and this year we were able to get them redone, and you can see the center hallway there and then the after picture. And the teachers came back, and I spoke with one of them, and he was just elated. He was like, "Wow, this is just a whole new classroom. I got so many new ideas now that we can do." So it was good to hear from them. I don't want to forget our custodial staff. They worked endlessly and tirelessly this summer. The gentleman in the middle there, Sean Mincello, he's at the middle school, and he was just working with the contractors that were there and trying to stay in front of them and sometimes moving behind them, obviously. And we're able to purchase some new tables for them there at the middle school. They had some old failing tables that were crumbly and dangerous. And he came to me with this idea for this product here on the right. It's a KV machine. It's a power washer, a wet vac, and it's a dilution machine at the same time to spray their chemicals in the right dilution. And he can get in the bathroom now and clean a restroom in no time and deep clean a restroom. And he's like, "Man, I'm saving so much time not having to drag different pieces of equipment in." He's like, "We're in there and I got everything with me." And so he's been very motivated. The two on the left there, that's Eva Gomez and a new hire, Chris Payne. Chris took over for longtime custodian Paul Salas, who had like 42 years of service over there. And I mean, everything was Paul, 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 Paul. He came in there and he's like, "Man, Fred, I'm a little tired of hearing Paul's name around, I'm like, "Well, you gotta make your mark. You got big shoes to fill." And when the teachers started trickling back, I've received maybe like 15 emails that they've never seen the school look this clean before. He went way above and beyond. I had no idea he was so detail orientated. And he came to me and asked me for this machine early on. He said, "Listen, the machine that I have to clean this floor, it takes me almost an hour and 45 minutes to do it right." He goes, "I would prefer spending my time cleaning some of these classrooms so that the night custodian, Eva, wouldn't have such a heavy load on her." So we purchased this machine. we had purchased one for Matthew Turner before, and that's where he had used it. And he's now cleaning that gym, and he has over an hour to spare now. And so he's putting that time towards helping his night custodian, and that whole school, it just looks amazing, and I couldn't be happier with them. This was a sink project that we got handed kind of late in the summer. We were asked to put in a kind of a utility sink for the folks in B6 at the high school, and they have kind of that robotics room where the kids are doing a bunch of mechanical stuff, and they're doing some painting and whatnot. And so the sink that they had in there wasn't conducive of that environment. You know, they'd have to go to another classroom to wash their brushes or to even wash their hands, you know. And so we did some modifications to the plumbing there. And you see Edwin down there on the ground and John taking measurements. Lisa Author gets in and does the final touches. And the picture on the right is the sink now for them there. So that was a good project. And then getting ready for school, you know, that first day back. I had the picture, and I don't know why I didn't put it in, but it's a kind of before and after. Those trees there blocking the sign of the Robert Simple, and Ronnie Estrada, our leads groundskeeper, is like, you know, that can't happen. So he cut it and, you know, shaped them up really nice so you can read the signs there. There's one of the bathrooms that was clean with that machine. It's just pristine and ready to go. This is a new groundskeeper we have here. She started out as a sub-custodian, and when she saw the grounds position open up, she said, Alfredo, I'd like to try it. I don't have a lot of experience, but if you're willing to train me, I'm willing to work hard. And I tell you, she's the first one to jump in the hole when we're out there working, and she's just work all the time, you know, and she's been amazing. So she's a great addition to our team. And the work continues. We're not quite finished. On the left there is a ventilation hood that we are having installed at the auto shop at the high school. They have, I think, 4 stations for welders, and the kids are starting to weld. Unfortunately, when they start welding, the smoke goes up, and with our new fire alarms, thanks to Roxanne, she did a great job with that. They're very sensitive though, and so we've had the fire department out. So they've been unable to weld, and so our solution is to get a hood in there that'll capture the smoke and send it out. And that's almost completed now. They just have a couple of minor fabrications to do, and that should be up and going soon. I'm going to probably steal a little of Roxanne's thunder here with, we kind of work together on the tennis courts for the middle school and the high school, which is, for me, it's a huge headache that I can see going away soon. There was a lot of discussion over this project, and it morphed into a lot of things, and I have to say thank you for your support that we are now remedying this situation. And as it stands right now to the right, that's the repaving at the high school, and the middle school looks just as nice. And we're just waiting for the asphalt to cure, and then they're gonna go ahead and put the acrylic coatings on it and the new nets. Again, I'm gonna steal your thunder, Roxanne. The new nets are removable, so there's a lot of excitement there from the administrators on site that they can utilize that space for a lot more things other than tennis. You know, whatever they want to do there, whether it be pickleball, volleyball, or whatever. Now they have the ability to use those. So again, that's a great project, and there were many people. I don't want to pretend like I get any credit for it. It's just one of those things that I witnessed this summer that I get jazzed about, even just looking at the pictures now. So that's it, folks. Again, I'd like to just say thank you for the continued support. I do feel blessed being here. I get a lot of support from administrators here, and my team is just they are just wonderful tradesmen who take their job seriously, and I can rely on each and every one of them 100%. So I'm very happy. Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah,
Well done.
great job.
Thank you.
You know, Alfredo, truly, please extend our gratitude to your team. Driving by these schools and seeing the transformation with all the work that you guys are doing has been incredible. And I go by Henderson pretty frequently, so I was watching, and then I saw the playground, and then I saw the painting, and like it's, oh, now it looks really neat, and you could see the front of the school. So you guys have done an amazing job. You're doing that on every one of our sites, and I'm so grateful for the work you guys do, because we know environment is so, so important to our students. And you are a great custodial
yeah.
care of that, so thank you.
Can I?
I'm sorry, you talked.
Sure. No, go ahead.
I just was wondering, like, how many people are there on your team? Because it seems like
It seems like there's a lot.
it
isn't
seems like
there?
there's a lot.
Unfortunately, we are down. Like the lady that I introduced in the end there, she's substituting. Luckily I've convinced her to apply for the open position, but we have something like 6 open positions. But typically, if I had everything filled, I think there would be 8 of us down that sit around that table that do maintenance, and it'd be four groundsmen and 4 technicians that we have running. So we run very thin. I know that. I've been in other districts and I've worked other places, and I know we run thin. But I think what that does is it creates a sense of obligation, and they take ownership because of it. There's no one to pawn it off on. You know, that's, hey buddy, this is your site. When I walk with the groundskeepers, they're each assigned 2 sites, and when I walk with them on a monthly basis, they can't point the finger at anybody. This is theirs, and so they know it, and they know those walks are coming, and they're working hard to make sure that everything's in order. And our guys with their work orders, you know, we talk about them every day. We have great communication down, you know, around our shop. We're a little bit rowdy, you know, and I give it to them. I let them sometimes. I turn a deaf ear because they need a space to vent and be who they are. And I tell them, this is your space. This is your time to do that. But when you're out in the field, you're a professional, and I expect you to behave that way. And they do. And it's been, like I said, it's been an honor. It's been great. I think we are just the right size, you know, because I've been in big organizations where, you know, the message gets diluted. And I've been in a small organization where there's not enough to do anything, you know, and you almost feel frozen. And this is, we hit the niche here with this size.
Well done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to move to reports, and we'll start with the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of quick items. Again, I think the schools are looking wonderful, and we're ready for school to start on Tuesday. There are so many people to thank during the course of the summer that get a lot of work done, all the secretarial staff, and certainly hats off to the tech department with Sebastiano Paduan, his whole team, and Mikey back there have just had this tremendous heavy lift with all of the new devices going to the high school, that one-to-one initiative, and a lot more devices at the middle school and just throughout the district. So great work there, and we're excited about that. And Roxanne's going to talk about some cool stuff. I won't do that. Yeah, you can do that one. But some really neat things with bond projects that we're excited about. So the current schedule that's going on throughout the district. So today was professional development at all the school sites. And so they put together an agenda, and the principals worked very closely with their teams. And so they worked closely on that with Dr. Beatson and put that together. The only exception there is the high school. They just have historically swapped the days, so they'll do what everybody else did today on Monday. Tomorrow we'll all be coming together as a district, and we'll start over at the high school and have a cup of coffee together, and then we'll start at 8:15 right on the button in the PAB. We have a nice welcome plan for everybody and kind of get ourselves framed and get going. And then the focus for tomorrow is professional development for all staff, all at the high school. And again, Dr. Beatson has done a great job, and she's a little shorthanded because Miss Rice had to go out for a little while for a medical reason. She'll be back. She's fine. But it's been a heavy lift in her department as well. But we're all situated and ready to go.
Ready to go.
So excited about that. And then on Monday, it's a teacher preparation day. That's the day that teachers have to do whatever they need to get ready for the first day of school on Tuesday. So it feels really good to me as your superintendent. Going into my 5th year, place looks good, place feels good. got all the right people in the right spots, and so we're ready to tee it up and have another great year. We have the board retreat tomorrow, Saturday at 8:30 down at First Street Cafe. For the community, that's something the trustees and I do. I think we've done it yearly. Kick the year off with a focusing retreat for all of us. And then sometimes we'll have an end of the year retreat as well. And in closing, just thanks to everybody. And I think that this whole unique school district of ours really just continues to get better and better and better. And I will say one of the things that feels so good right now is we're not talking about negotiations. And that's no small deal, right? I mean, we got, and thanks for everybody who we worked so hard together. The BTA's here, welcome. And we worked really hard on that last year. And Dr. Gill and all the trustees, we got it done in a short period of time. And man, you just enter into the school year, everybody's kind of breathing and we're not focusing on that. So that feels good. So hopefully we've set a tradition there. So on we go.
All right, thank you. All right, now to our board members, does anyone have a report or anything they'd like to share?
We all were at the golf tournament
Uh-huh.
on by the Rotary Club on Saturday, and we handed out pizza and beer for 2-3 hours to golf. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was nice to be able to meet a lot of the public and thank people for their support of the school district. We had a very good time.
We did.
Thanks for going.
I had the pleasure of working with the soccer teams at the golf tournament. So both men's and women's soccer players came out to help raise money for their activities as well. And so I just really appreciated that the students were out there participating in the event as well, because the golf tournament supports both Liberty and VHS athletics as well as other things. So thank you to Rotary and their team for putting it all together.
And Leslie, tell your daughter thank you for the sign. Tell her we appreciate, yes, it did. Thank you, thank you.
Sherry, did you want to add anything else?
That was a
Yeah.
very nice song.
No, it was a great day. The other thing that I got to do this week is I was meeting with Carolyn and she said to me, "You have to go check out the office at the middle school." So we went trudging through the dust and the dirt the other day. So, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be okay. And I went into the offices to see, and boy, what a great attitude in that office. It was, yeah, really calm. That's what she said to me. It's really calm, but they were absolutely delightful and friendly. And Connie and Faith were at a training. So I said, I need to see their offices because what I was hearing about were their offices. So we opened up the doors just so I could peek in. And I thought, oh my God, what a great environment for kids. If they've got to go in and talk to the VP, what a nice atmosphere to sit and talk with the VP. But not to mention that a lot of times as staff, you would go in there and just need to talk and you're not feeling like, it's such a institutional room. It was just a really nice homey setting. So you've got to get up there if you haven't been there yet. So, but I had to go do a sneak preview. So on my way home from coffee, I decided I was going to hit the middle school that day. So that was great, and I'm glad I did. And thank you for the tip. There were also a whole bunch of 7th graders that were outside and 8th graders setting up signs, getting ready for our 6th graders on Wednesday morning. So that was fun to see them putting up all their signs. And they were doing such a great job on the sidewalks and the driveway with arrows and telling them they had to meet here and to go there. So I thought, good use of the resources. I like the way we're using the pavement. So I thought it was a good all-around start and very welcoming. So thank you.
I think there's one other thank you I'd like to add, and that's to Dr. Cush Gill, because we are opening for the 2nd year with all of our teaching positions
Yes.
filled.
Yeah.
And
So,
that's
yeah.
an amazing feat. And so thank you to you and your team for pulling that all together.
And she did a great welcome for our new staff yesterday morning. I was here at 8 o'clock, and as always, they did an absolutely warm welcome for everybody with munchies. Of course, when you serve food, it's like it's okay. So it was just a great morning to start them off. But again, kudos to you and your team for doing such a great job. Okay, and with that said, we're going to move on to comments from the members of the public. So please remember that members of the public may address the board at a regular meeting on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Cards may be completed requesting to address the board. They are available at the back table and may be submitted to the board secretary at the meeting. The governing board allows speakers to speak at regular meetings on agendized and not agendized matters under public comment. Comments are limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker, and by law, no action may be taken on any item raised during public comment periods, and matters may be referred to staff for placement on a future agenda item of the governing board. This is also a time where we are good listeners, but we are not engaging in conversation at this time. And it looks like we have Lisa.
Hi, Lisa Delorfis. I work at Mary Farmer, live in Fairfield. Anyway, what I want to talk about is the air conditioning. I don't know if everyone knows, elementary teachers are always there early, and we didn't have air conditioning, or it wasn't working well until today. And so we had teachers that were not feeling well, that were getting overheated from working, because we're moving. We're not just sitting there, we're actually physically moving things. And so if there's some way that the week or two before school, we can have access to air conditioning. Also, a lot of us are there late at night, and right now it's really hot. And I just got a text from a teacher that's at our school saying, "It is so hot, I can barely breathe in my classroom. Is there any way you can make a comment about air conditioning?" So I'm doing that. So, like on Monday, the day before we start, it'd be really nice if we had air conditioning until later on, because, we want to be in our classrooms getting everything ready, but when it's too hot to even be comfortable, or when you start getting lightheaded and not feeling well, we have to go home, and it's kind of discouraging. Okay, thank you.
And I have to ask, you got your master's? She's all set, yay. Okay, so we are going to move on to the consent calendar. This is the time we're going to call for a motion. This will be, we'll get a motion, a second, and we'll all do a vote. And what we're doing is accepting all of the things from the consent item that are our normal business. And that'll be our personnel changes or hiring or anything that we've gone on so far in our closed session. Okay, so I need to call for an approval for the consent calendar as presented.
I'd like to make a motion to, this is the first time I'm doing this, to accept the consent calendar as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Okay, now we're going to move on to discussion items, and this will be our opportunity to engage with staff as they give us presentations. And we will not be doing any voting on these items. And the first one is going to be the Measure S bond update. Mrs. Egan.
Thank you. Welcome and welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a good summer. So we had a meeting with our Bond Oversight Committee on August 6th. And in your board packets, it includes the information that we shared with the CVOC meeting. So it was a positive meeting, and they approved expenditures, and we reviewed all of the bond projects. I was going to give you some updates on and walk through all the bond projects, and then happy to answer any questions you may have. It's going to start with the middle school. The first things that we have up here are their phasing. We had lofty goals of being complete with everything in front of the school at the time that school started, and we are obviously not there. We had some things this summer, unforeseen conditions in the soils, rock, PGE delays of a month. So it's always, those things happen. Betty, can you kind of scroll down so it just shows page 1 and maybe a little bit bigger? Okay, thank you. That's all right. These are some graphics that Lindsay has shared out with the school and also out with the parents and community, so that we can help paint a picture of what to expect when you get back to school and how to approach, and here's trying to set some expectations. The area that you see in gray, so the front parking lot and the side in the end lot, those are going to remain closed. The front entrance to the school should be open. Right now, there's a piece of concrete that's not poured yet. They'll be there tomorrow. They will definitely, one thing I can say, even with the delays, I've been really pleased that the contractor has had a lot of crews on site and everybody has been working. It's not due to lack of people on the project or not working. But so they'll be able to drop off on Southampton still and to walk through the parking lot, and they'll be able to go in the front of the school. They are going to, so there'll be a fence just where that blue line is to the left of the front entry, and it'll kind of wind around. In the mornings after everybody gets to school, they'll put up, you know, because our big gate is gone. So they'll close it just for control like they usually would, just a temporary gate until we get our permanent one in. And then they'll open it at the end of the day. So we'll have entrance and exits on the east side, on the right-hand side. And then that parking area is open. And we still have the church parking lot that is, they're graciously allowing us to use it. Can you kind of scroll down? So that is anticipated, the first closures that you saw through the middle of October. Yeah, much better. The second page there is anticipated from the middle of October through the end of December. So even though we missed this benchmark milestone for the beginning of the school, right now we are still anticipating completion around the end of this year, meaning late December. So hoping that we'll be able to get in the classrooms first couple months of 2020. So during the second part, the end parking lot will still remain closed because the buildings won't be set until late October. After the buildings are set, they have to pour the concrete and stuff around them. So we are continuing to keep B5 and B6 closed through the end of this construction. Do you want to go to the next slide, please? Yeah, I know, sorry. Betty's doing the best with the multiple pieces I gave her. No problem. So I wanted to kind of share some, just some reflections. So this first one starts, and I know that construction is not easy and we always have pains with it. And so this is a reflection on past, where we came from and you know, our progress and movement forward. And then we're gonna look at the next one, which is a picture of present, where we are today. And you can see they got the mansard painted. So we have this bright new kind of, it's a neutral color, but it has undertones of lemony kind of yellow. That in the middle there is it's the sail that kind of makes a gesture towards the Vikings and their mascot. We have the new parking lot improvements in the front of the school there. You can see the brownish part in the front of the office. It's a wood. It's called a rain screed, but so it's going to be a really nice element bringing it together. They have their new benches on site, which is exciting because they look nice. And so there's still plenty of room to go, but at least we can see progress, which I find exciting. We have one more of just present. Here's where we are looking from the other side in. And then do you want to go to the next one, please? And this, so past, present, and this one, the next one that she's going to pull up is future. Yeah, there is. Again, sorry for not having this better. So this is just a reminder of our graphics, and this is shared in the front office with the middle school. It's also posted on the wall here of where we're going. So you see kind of that cell marquee structure that we have the framing for. You can see one of the prior photos, they have the trenches in for the new wall that we're doing, the new fence walls along the outside, and it really gives you this sense of how you're drawn into the entry, and it has such of a more welcoming feel than it used to. The trellis structure that's up there is prefabricated in a remote location, so that has it's called a delayed DSA approval. It doesn't go through the main part, so we're going through round 2 with them, and it may be one of the later items installed, but it doesn't mean that the other stuff can't happen because they can pour the footings and then there's a cap and then they'll come set it in place on top of it when we get it through. On the bottom of there's a graphic of the new classrooms. Just a reminder, the blue on the outside is just generically placed there. That photo is really intended to show the interior of the classrooms. The bottom elevation is what the outside of the classrooms will really look like, and it's that neutral yellowish tone that we have on our mansard, on our eave trim, is going to be the base color. It will have stone that matches the stone on our fencing. And then there is on the left-hand side beside the doors, you see a little bit of, it's too small, you can't see it very well, but it's the same wood screed. So it looks like a kind of a wood detail on the side. So we're very excited for that. You know, go on to the next one, please. So this is kind of jumping subjects. So flashing forward to the PAB, different project from this summer was installing new lights there for the theater. It is, we've made good progress with it. It's not complete. We're probably 85%. But we are happy with the progress that's been made. And I think 2 to 3 weeks we'll be all done. I talked with Nathan. He's not over, if they wanted the stage, I can make the guys work off hours and weekends, but Nathan says for their first week or two that they don't really need it anyhow. So it doesn't really seem of a lot of concern. So we're getting there, we'll get there. So it's exciting to see some new stuff in there. This is another project. So this looks like a prison, but this is our, this is, I know, yep. Yes, that's right. This is our Prop 39 money. So jumping into from bond money into Prop 39 energy efficiency improvements. So one of the projects this summer, and I'm gonna speak a little bit to Mary Farmer and stuff, was to replace the thermostats district-wide. And so this particular example shows a covering on it for protection. It's especially, not every place has it, but for high impact areas like gyms and things where it can get hit and where they have a lot of problems with it getting messed with. So this project, you think of thermostats and it's just, you think, well, you put a new device on the wall. So we did this district-wide. There's over 400 of them. And it's not just the devices on the wall, it's the wiring that goes up into the HVAC units. And then there's new actuators, which is a kind of a panel inside the HVAC unit. And it's how the thermostat talks to the HVAC unit to say, it's too cold in here, we need more heat, or it's too hot in here and we need some air conditioning. Can you go to the next one? So these, the way that they work, are hand in hand with the existing HVAC units. So that's obviously Alfredo's team. Oh, there's one more, and maybe it's they might be out of order. They're the one with the, it's I, yeah. Yeah, I will. Yes, please. So it interacts a lot with maintenance's piece on the HVAC. And so there's that one, thank you. Maintenance has been very helpful. Alfredo's had his team out there with the contractor who was installing these, because as they terminate the wires, and then maintenance has their part. And so thank you to you and your crew. They've done a lot in being there. And it really has to work accurate together, because one doesn't work without the other. And so we're like 99% through with this install. They're at the punch list stage of it. So what happens with that? This screen right up here, now maintenance will have the ability that they can look at this on their phone. And this is a printout from Matthew Turner from this morning. So it shows you in room 25 at 9:51 a.m. it was 73, in room 26. And they can literally pull this up for every single site, and they can see it. And they also can turn it off in the event there is a Valero event or something, like with 1 minute at the district office without going in the field. The other thing you would see up here, you know, both sides of this, room 27, so it says not reachable. So as we're going through the punch list of their installs, there are some places, I'd be here jabbering more than you want to know, but so I won't go on forever, but it's this process of refinement. You do one step and then you have to go back and recheck and check the distances and stuff because they wirelessly commute to this device that sends it back to maintenance. And so the ones that you see that say like not reachable, it means that they're still adjusting that. It's not that we're done, we think we're through and we're out of here. So, and then the other part is they also, if the thermostat's talking to the HVAC unit and the HVAC unit may have some errors and it's not working, maintenance can also see that on their reports. And then, so that'll be a good tool for them to be like, wow, we've got 8 units up here that are, and we have old HVAC units. So there were some calls definitely today, and some of them are this, and some of them are, like I said, they go hand in hand. Some of them are HVAC stuff that isn't really part of this project, and then we're sorting through them, and I'm like, okay, Alfredo, this one's mine. Oh, that one's yours, and so we're, but we are working through it, and it should be a really good improvement. And I did just talking about Mary Farmer. There were some phone calls made today, and I would expect that to be better. So yeah. Tonight was still getting those. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're saying she may not have it done by the first day of school.
Okay, we'll make some follow-up phone calls tomorrow. Yeah, we had phone calls today too, but so.
I mean, I know you were in contact with her school about her room, but she's absolutely doesn't know what to do. She's got first graders. She's just
Is it 6? Is it room 6? No?
No, wait, I don't know.
Oh,
Honestly,
okay.
I don't know what room she's in now because she moved and I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. So we'll work some more on that one. That one, it's a joint problem between the HVAC and the, so anyways, we'll keep.
Ms. Egan, and just a quick question and a reminder to the board, Prop 39 was a pretty sizable amount of money that most of the districts in California got. You had to apply for it by putting together a plan. And we did that. Thank you, Ms. Egan. And it's for energy efficiency. And so you would say that this will help with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so speaking of energy efficiency, like I said, it's hit and miss across the sites, and it's unfortunate, and I wish that was different. We'll keep working to get it better, but I have heard some positive things about this at places, where it's more fine tuned, and so that's good. I do think it's a very good product, and that it will work out well for us.
Thank you.
Going back to this other photo, so another part of our Prop 39 work was transformer replacements. So we kind of get a 2-for-1 in here. You can see the asphalt work in the background, and then you see our new transformers. So that was also part of our energy efficiency upgrades. We did 7 new transformers, 4 at the high school and 3 at the middle school. I was at the middle school today. Leslie invited me Lindsay, to join them in some briefings with the staff, and the teacher outside of the B wing. Yeah. I so appreciated her because, most people aren't that excited about new transformers. And she was like, I'm so excited because I don't hear that huge hum in my room all day. And I really appreciated the enthusiasm. So it was nice to hear some positive reinforcement for something that isn't always that exciting that we see on a day-to-day basis. Thank you. The other thing that you see back there, that was a bomb project. So that is asphalt work, and Alfredo and I have worked jointly together on that. And yeah, we've gone through a few gyrations, and we're really happy that they pulled it out so fast. And we expect the final coating to go on before the middle of October. Everything should be complete and done. So really happy about that. A couple things I don't have photos on, but just sharing out with you what's coming next. The board approved us to go ahead with fire alarms at Matthew Turner and Joe Henderson. The construction for those upgrades is going to start in September. As a reminder, it will be off hours and weekends, which is always difficult, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that it will be as smooth as possible. I think that we had really good fortune with Robert Semple and Mary Farmer, and so hoping for a similar experience with that. And then we also are starting planning for the Mary Farmer modernization. We have them out there doing topographical work. The architect is on board, and they have been doing research on their background stuff to get going. We have some preliminary meetings scheduled for planning, and then once we get through a few of those, we'll be reaching out to the teachers on site to have some meetings for their input as well. So that's moving. And then the other thing that is in planning is future phases for the Benicia Middle School modernization. You're welcome. Thank you.
So Roxanne, can I ask you another question? It's not on the agenda, so it's not, but can we get some information at some point about how our solar's doing?
Sure. Yeah, I can include it in a board. I mean, I can just give you information right now if everybody's gets. I mean, our update's part of Prop 39 and everything. It's doing awesome.
Okay.
We get reports that we get an annual report, and I think we get a quarterly report as well. They have been overproducing compared to our estimates.
Wow.
We are contracted with a company who does the cleanings annually, and they also support maintenance and operations, although maintenance helps to schedule them and get them in, but it's kind of specialized work. So our vendor does the work. And then we also have a performance agreement with them. So if they actually ever do not produce the amount that they're supposed to, then they're responsible for it because they designed that system and said it would work that way. We just had our annual cleaning, and it came back with a couple of things. There was a few things of panels, and it looks like it's damaged from like a ball falling on it or something got hit. You have periodic things where one or two of them it's just to be expected. So even with that though, our production's been right on. We're doing great with them.
We were so excited about this, and we still are when we started it. So just for new trustees, there was a 0% loan and a very low interest Krebs loan when we started it. And then one of the things, we were excited about it for a bunch of reasons. But the big one was we didn't want to saddle future boards and district with a huge debt, but over a 25-year period, the projected savings is anywhere from $5 to $7 million is what the numbers we were working with. And that's paying off the loan, maintenance, et cetera. So we're super excited about that. And then just in closing, I don't think you mentioned this, that we're going to start the farmer bond project in the fall. We're super excited with the architectural firm. And
yeah, we're in planning, so I don't want anybody to be.
That's right.
Like not construction, planning.
Because I've got enough construction going on right now.
Yeah, I feel that way. Thank you.
Well done, Missy.
All right.
All right, thank you. Okay, anybody else have any more questions for her before she leaves? Okay. All right, then we're going to go on to the next item, and that's Mr. Rayhill, the 2019-2020 budget.
Yeah, we have the handout at your desk there, and then copies in the back of the room. So we have our pocket budget from the state approved budget for 2019-20. So the legislature passed it before the end of June, and they had a workshop in July. So it was pretty much the same as the May revise, which we reported out to the board at the June meeting, and just highlight some of the items in the pocket budget that you have there. The cost of living that was applied, it did decrease a little bit from 3.46 to 3.26%. So just a slight decrease there on the COLA side. Discretionary funds, Governor Brown had done a series of one-time funds year after year, but Governor Newsom did not, and that was not approved in the budget. So we have accumulated our one-time funds, and we've always had this kind of rolling 3-year plan. And so we're going to, work with curriculum and see where we're at with that to see if we can maybe stretch it out a little bit longer and kind of hope for maybe some additional one-time funds in the future. Special education. So there was a proposal by the governor to provide some additional special education funds to a limited number of districts, which Benicia would not receive those funds. That did not pass. And there is an approved budget that would provide funds for special education that go to our county SELPA, our group where we get our funds from. It goes from the state to the regional to us. And so our superintendent with all the other Solano County superintendents are going to meet. I think they're going to start the conversation next week, and then they'll have future agenda items on how they can allocate those special ed funds to the member districts in Solano County. Everyone's in our regional special ed group except Vallejo. Vallejo is a standalone special ed regional group for itself. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe we can get some additional funding for that. One of the things that Governor Newsom did that did get passed is a little bit of pension relief, as our employees' pension funds have been kind of struggling to meet its investment returns. They've been increasing the amounts that school districts pay, as well as the employees pay into those funds. And so what the governor did is provide some pension relief out of the state budget. And what he did is he reduced the school district rate from 18%, 18.1% down to 17.1% for schools for the certificated STIRS pension. And then on the classified PERS pension for our classified employees, a decrease of 20.7 to 19.7%. So that is a positive thing for our budget. We'll continue. Newsom's theme, one of his themes is early childhood education, preschool. We'll continue to watch the funding there. Benicia does participate in some state preschool and state childcare programs at Robert Simple School and Mary Farmer School. So we do get some state funds for that. We did open a new fee-based program at Joe Henderson. So that's a brand new program that opened this year because there was a big waiting list. So we're happy to serve more children at Joe Henderson site. The other big topic is career technical education. That seems to be the hot topic over the last couple years. And the high school, Benicia High School, has applied for and received some career tech education funds, including just over $100,000 for this coming year. So the principal is working with one of our returning retired teachers, Annette Fewens. She's coming back for basically about one period a day, and she's going to help coordinate the career tech ed effort at Benicia High School, working with the administrators there and the teachers.
Tim, I have a question. One of the things the governor's also pushing for is it's full-day kindergarten facilities. So can you share with us a little bit, like, what does that look like in Benicia? How many hours a day do they consider full-time for kindergarten? And our facilities?
Yeah, it's my understanding what that pot of money would be. I don't know how districts go for it, but it would go to districts that right now, when they have one classrooms that's shared by two kindergarten teachers because they have an AM and a PM,
Right.
then it would provide fundings for them to get another classroom so that the AM could be there all day and the PM could have their own classroom. So it would go all day. And it's my understanding that, Leslie, that each kindergarten teacher already has their own classroom.
Mhm.
So they're not sharing now. So Benicia would not qualify to get facility funds towards that effort because it would be to create. Maybe there's a way we could do it, but I think we'd be hard pressed.
Okay. So, but what does the state determine is considered? Because our kindergarten, or I mean, they start off on a the shorter day. Thank you. I'm looking for words here. The shorter time, and then it seems to me like by sometime in September, they have extended to at least, what is it, 1:30, 1:40 they go. So
So we start at a 4-hour day for kindergarten for the first approximately 30 days of school. So mid-September, I believe it's September 16th this year, we go to a 5-hour day, which is already longer. So a half-day kindergarten is 3 hours. So we're already over what the state requires for minimum kindergarten. And if the law goes into effect for full-day kindergarten, typically that runs the same length of day as what a first grade classroom would be. So it would be, so our kids go, once they're at their 5-hour day, most schools end around 1:30 for their 5-hour
Mhm.
day. So they would go to 2:55, potentially. I need to look into it a little bit more, but there is talk of that.
that's a long day. They put a nap in there? Wow, a long one for those babies. Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Tim or? All right. Thank you, Mr. Rahal. Oh, we have to approve it. Hold on. No, we don't. This is under, okay, got my calendar. Okay, so now we're going to move to non-consent action items, and these items, we will also gather information, and then they're going to be asked to vote on them, to accept them. Okay, so the first one is a consideration and approval of the 21-22 school year calendar. Dr. Gill.
Good evening, thank you. So we have a calendar committee which is comprised of teachers, classified staff, and administration staff. We meet periodically all year long to work on a calendar 3 years ahead of, which is really great for that we do this in our district. And I want to specially thank all of our committee members, but especially Ms. Fields, who was not a committee member, but she played a key role this past year with this calendar. So thank you for bringing everybody together towards the end, because we were going back and forth with a couple of different calendars. So so what I'm bringing to you today is a calendar draft for 21-22 year school year, which has been this calendar specifically that I'm bringing to you has been voted on by the teachers and also our classified staff. They don't vote on it, but the committee approves it, the committee members. And originally, we noticed that originally the calendar that was uploaded, option B was not the accurate one. We changed it, we uploaded the right one. I also brought copies to you, hard copies. So it's not option B, it's actually option C.
It's now
Yeah.
uploaded correctly.
It's uploaded correctly now. It's actually if you refresh, and then it comes the right one. Yeah. Then the right one will come up. So option C, the major difference between B and C is the start date. Correct.
Definitely different.
Correct. The start date is a little later, and a little difference in the December break as well, and a couple other days. Other than that, it's very similar to the calendar like we have this year and we're going to have next year. There's not drastic changes other than that, but those are the major differences.
Looking at January, we're going to come back on
We come back on a Thursday because that's how the kind of week falls, and our staff did not want to.
you don't want to go to school on Christmas.
Correct. And then so that's why it took this long, because we met like almost 8-9 times, and that's why Carolyn came in, because December break was because the day falling. Yeah. This is because of that. And we went back and forth quite a bit on it, and this is what we ended up with. Yes. If we were taking off time earlier, then the high school's first semester for high school would have been even shorter. So we had to keep that in mind as well.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah. If we were taking like the 20th all the way and then coming back on the 4th, then this first semester would have been too short also. So there was lots of different variables that we had to consider. This is one of those odd years.
Oh, it's
So
very
the
odd.
year after this is not like this. The
Nobody
year
wanted
after
to
this will be
go to
smooth.
school on Christmas Eve. Teachers probably wouldn't feel
Imagine
right. Who would've thought?
Questions? Any other questions? So thank you, team.
Right, any more comments or questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve the calendar as presented?
I move to approve the calendar for 2021-22 as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Dr. Gill.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, 13.2, we're going to consideration and approval of the intent to employ with a provisional internship or PIP permit for Daryl Giliberte.
Thank you. So this is one of those positions that became open in July. This is also a very difficult to fill position statewide because it requires a moderate to severe credential. We have made quite a few efforts to fill this position with a credentialed employee, but it is very difficult sometimes to fill these positions when the position becomes open so late in the year, and also these type of credentials. So we are requesting for the board to approve a provisional intern permit for Dale Gilberti, who actually has been working in our district, has experience working with the Pearl students already. He is already working at Benicia High School and is going to be working with Touro University to complete his credentialing program.
Are there any comments or questions? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve this request?
I make a motion to approve the provisional intern permit for Daryl Gabretti.
I second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Okay, consideration and approval of the new job description for Coordinator of Child Development Unit and Adult Ed. Dr. Gill, I'm assuming this is you again?
Yes, it is me. So as Mr. Rahel mentioned earlier that at Henderson, for example, we added a new class. Our CDU program and adult education program is growing quite a bit. And they actually, we were counting, they now have 8 preschool classes, 4 school age classes, 1 stepping stone class, and a new adult education program. They even have summer trainings. Like this summer, they had done a full-blown training for about 3 weeks here in Liberty High School, so for adults. So because of that, their work is increasing. And obviously their revenues is increasing too, so they do have enough funding through their own revenue to bring another position, because June does need assistance in monitoring the programs, monitoring the data, specifically working with the teachers in the classrooms as well. So that's why we're bringing a new job description of Coordinator of Child Development and Adult Education, please, to be approved. And it will have no impact on general fund. It will be fully funded through Child Development Unit and Adult Education Program.
Are there any comments or questions? Okay, then I'd like to call for a motion, please, for this position.
I move that we approve the new job description for Coordinator of Child Development and Adult Education.
Do I have a Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion request passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to 13.4, approval of the following appointments. Oh, this is us. Representing, so what we were looking at is, because we have a new board member, we wanted to give Ms. Moss the opportunity to join in the team, because now Mr. Wing is not there. And it was also an opportunity that if some of us wanted to move some positions around, stop smiling, we could do that as well. So with that said, is there anybody who would like, Gethsemane, you get to pick first. What are you kind of thinking? I know you've had some thoughts.
I was thinking about representative to the Solano County school boards.
Okay, and that has Mr. Maselli's name on it. So Mr.
Thank
Maselli.
you can have it.
Okay, so we'll put Miss Moss there. And there's also a representative to Youth Action Council, which belonged to Mr. Wing. So is there somebody interested in taking that?
When, oh, all right, good.
Sherry? Okay, anybody, we good? Yeah. Okay, then we'll say that Ms. Zeta will take that position. So I also understand there's another committee that the people that sit on it would like to talk about, and that's the Board Policy Committee. The smile over here.
So that was
It's Sherry
Trustee
Zeta and Mark
Maselli
Maselli, and my understanding, if I heard correctly from the smiles, is that Sherry would like to offer her seat up.
I'll continue on that. Though.
Thank you.
And then I would be willing to help out with that one too.
So would you change that name, change Sherry's name to Gethsemane?
so I'm doing this in the minutes in case you're wondering.
Yeah, no, I know. That's
Where
why
it's
we're
at.
going slowly, because I know you're trying to get it into the minutes.
Oh,
And Sherry, you're still gonna do BEF, right? Because I don't see that listed, but I know you were a rep BEF. Is that okay? It just
Oh, no,
occurred
it's
to me.
Number 7.
no.
No,
that's
the
Benicia
Benicia Ed
Education
Foundation?
Foundation.
Okay, okay. All right, so,
Are we good?
the other conversation that I think we were kind of looking, or the other committee, was also the District Curriculum Council. Mr. Maselli was kind of having a conversation that he might also be interested in joining that committee. Is that still correct?
Yeah, but when does it meet? Because remember, I don't get out of school.
Well, we
till
have
3.
Dr. Beats in here now, so I thought it would be a good question for
I
her
don't.
to answer.
I can't get out of Pittsburgh till 3 o'clock.
We meet 3:30 to 4:30, or sometimes 3:30 to 5.
I could do that. Sure, that'd be cool.
You can have more than one. You can have two on that.
Right. We usually do, because it actually, Mr. Wing was on that committee with me, because it's really nice when there's more than one person, because when they start getting really busy, they're meeting a lot. So if you can have at least someone there, so that would be great.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? All right, then I think we're good for the school year going forward. Yes, Sherry? Uh-huh.
So that committee was very active, and then it recently has become not as active, and we've had one
meeting.
and it was before. So the cities now. So we rotate. We have it. They have it. And because I'm leaving, I asked if they would take it now, so the new person doesn't have to also do this, and they agreed. So now we wait till they reach out to us. And then
So do you
I'll
think
let
there's
them
going to
know.
be another meeting?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll reach out to
Okay.
manager. We resurrected it again this year in the first meeting we had. I thought it was great. It was very good, great agenda, well attended. So I'll reach out to her. We'll work on it together.
Okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, then we're good. I think I need a motion to approve all the changes to the committees. So can I have a motion to change? A motion for the board appointment
I'll make a
changes?
motion to approve board appointments as discussed.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the new appointments are approved. Thank you. Okay, now we could go to number 14.